Well, look, we've been working in this area of Newcastle since 2004, 2005, doing assessments. We've obviously used resources like this, and to finally get an image with this quality and an ability to really look at the detail on there is just absolutely fantastic. And I pulled it up and showed the two fellows who are in charge of the excavations next door, and their jaws just dropped. Images like that.
That's fantastic.
So, like we're getting stuff from Hunter Water showing us the site in various drainage diagrams. So we've actually been able to excavate drainage systems that are on historical documents as well. This is a photograph taken from the eastern side of what we've called Trench 4, looking towards the Ibis Hotel, and what we have here is a line of post holes running off towards the Ibis. This is a footing of the Palais, a later footing of the Palais, late 19th century brick footing, and then we've got a post hole return here. So we've got a rectangular building with one corner here. There's been substantial disturbance through here, as you can see, in some other areas of disturbance, some areas as disturbance as recent as 2008 when they were demolishing. And the demolisher has really destroyed a lot of the site during the demolition process. We wrote them a demolition plan to try and mitigate their demolition work, and they didn't pay any attention to it at all. We've got a lot of the demolition on record from someone helpful who was taking photographs from a building site next door.
Documenting.
So I lied to, obviously, 1, 2, 3, 4 of the post holes to see if anything was coming out of them, and they were clean. Okay. So our assumption is that the post hole, when it's being dug, is actually being dug into a clean site, and that because
of this 1810 site.
And because of the position relative to the overlay that I showed you, and the fact that these post holes have nothing in them at all, we're assessing that as the 1810 Commandant's Cottage. We've looked for what we call broadcast deposits, people standing at the back door throwing rubbish out the back. We found nothing through any of this area here, and nothing related to an occupation of the cottage there. So at the moment, all we have are these bare structural features, but it's still a very telling image, I think, of that. Very assuming it's a very significant site. And by the time we see the next image in 1892, the site's cleared and there are just carriages on it. So we did find evidence of the fire in the excavation. You can see up at the end the charcoal deposit there. Well, that's the weatherboard hardware store burning down in.
What was the name of the hardware store again?
McLellan Hellyer.
Okay.
And it's from the. You can see it very clearly in the snow in those photos.
Okay.
That's right. And as I say, Police Gazette 1890 inquest into the fire, and 1892 photograph. Next one, the site's just cleared. So they went, and I understand from a couple of other sources that. Certainly by 96, which is the first big plan that we have, the detailed plan of the Western markets, there is another small store re-erected here, and what we got through here were a series of post holes from several phases of store, late 19th century post holes. They're full of mid to late 19th century ceramics, coal, industrial debris, that sort of material, and the industrial debris and some of the bone material is undoubtedly from the Dangar occupation period. We've not found much occupation deposit from the Dangar period. We're getting that more in that centre area where we're just clearing up at the moment.
And that's post 1838 or something, is it?
That's Dangar, I understand, bought the place in January 1848.
Okay.
And there's a description in the Maitland paper for the lot that says there's already a slab building on it and a slaughter yard.
Okay.
Or cattle yards. So there's already infrastructure here that they obviously utilised, and they put in a tinsmith's shed and boiling down works and that sort of thing. So they did do a lot of work on the site.
Hi, I'm Anna Biggs and I'm working for AHMS. What we've found is basically looks like a dune system. So what we're digging through is an old beach. And fundamentally, it looks like a couple of layers of occupation. First one's about between 20 and 40 centimetres down. We're finding a lot of stone artefacts at that level, and then we've gone much deeper in a couple of places, and we're finding another layer from about 1 metres down, so there's clearly 2 layers of occupation going on. Probably the most exciting thing that's going on is an area that's relatively undisturbed. There seems to have been a lot of turbation going on around here, so we've been finding artefacts with like calcretions all over them and mixed up with ones that are quite smooth and waterworn, so there seems to have been a lot of movement in this area. But when we got over here, basically it looks like we found a couple of hearths. There's a lot of charcoal, so we've pulled out samples of that for dating, and it looks really, really undisturbed. And we're hoping to be able to conjoin some of the artefacts, because it looks like someone was sitting around the fire eating their dinner and napping. It's actually that, it looks that undisturbed.
And what period is this?
We'll have to wait for dates.
Okay.
So, yeah, I mean at this stage I'm not sure. That's what we're taking the charcoal out.
All right.
Yeah, I don't have any
The
indication
material
myself.
is,
But it's not colonial or ancient?
10,000 years or younger.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Holocene material.
Yeah.
I mean the lower stuff, I don't
The
know.
lower stuff
The lower stuff I don't
we
know,
don't
but this
know,
is
but
so this is in the first layer that we found this. So it looks like a couple of hearths and someone just sitting around there napping.
Yeah.
And so there's actually quite a lot of really amazing information coming out. In this corner we've had one spit, so 1 metre square, going down 10 centimetres, and we had 254 artefacts just in that tiny little
Wow.
space. So that one in the middle, it's still standing.
Yep.
A space like that, we had 254 artefacts, and there's good stuff coming out.
Jeez.
Beautiful bondi points and blades and things with a lot of retouch and use wear.
Yep.
Really, really incredible artefacts coming out of this. So
Okay.
So that darker area at the top is really a disturbed topsoil.
When you talk about post holes, you're not actually talking about post holes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, we as archaeologists we divide them up into there's the post hole, which is the action of you're standing there, you dig a hole in the ground, you put the post in, and then you backfill it.
Yeah,
So
so
for an
it's-
archaeologist, there are in the end 3 things that we're looking for. We're looking for the cut, we're looking for the post, which over 100 years rots out and just becomes a dark stain,
Okay.
and then the packing back in.
Yep.
Have you got one there? Have you? So that's quite a considerable one, as you can see. So the packing is actually the last 3/4 of that. The pipe has been removed, so that was where the rotted post had been. So that's removed. We remove all of that separately, you see. So we get information from the pipe itself, which may have a nail in it, and wire wrap artefacts dating from the mid to late 19th century. And that is completely clean, that area there.
Yeah.
So our assumption is that therefore we have a clean site, which a series of posts are put in a rectangular shape. Our best candidate is the Commandant's cottage. So
Okay. So they set fire to them when they were clearing these
come
things?
here. It would probably be just outside the mangrove line, I think, from memory.
Okay.
There would be low shrubs here.
So where's the sea come in?
Well, the
River,
creek,
sorry.
the
Yeah.
creek stroke river actually encroaches onto the site. The
Okay.
site has been reclaimed when they put the railway through.
Okay.
And the creek line would actually be, let's say, 10 to 15 metres off that rear wire fence.
Okay.
And it snaked in from the west, from the south originally, then snaked in from the west, and then ran back out to the river.
Okay.
So there was a sort of a slight re-entrant for the creek here, which formed the northern boundary. That remains here until the railway is put through, and when you see the railway, the land acquired for railway purposes, the rail line is actually running across the creek, so they obviously fill that, they divert the creek line. So areas of the site are actually reclamation from the 1850s for the rail line.
Okay.
But prior to that, as Alan would have explained, 1790s they come here. The creek is the northern boundary of the site we're standing on. The mangrove line, I think, is probably a few metres north of us. On this side there are probably low shrubs, perhaps grasses or something or other. They decide to clear it, and in clearing it they grub as much out as they possible, and they burn off the rest. And that charcoal layer will be that initial clearance, European
that's
clearance.
incredible.
European clearance.
Okay.
Yeah.
We leave our mark, don't we?
Well, yes, there you go.
We leave
there
our
you go.
mark.
But
That's
over there are probably 3 or 4 layers of charcoal. There's the 1890s fire for the hardware store.
Yeah.
There'll be more initial European clearance, and then beneath that there will be a charcoal hearth from the Aboriginal occupation of the site.
Well,
So it's all good stuff. You know, it's all
in terms of geological history, the
stone platform that runs through here. No, I've covered that too. There's a sandstone platform. Pardon? Yeah, maybe if we just have a look at this side of it. So, see this? So we're just getting the top of it here, several bricks, and it extends out to that area there.
Yep.
And its depth and the manner of construction is suggesting to us that it actually dates from the Dangar period.
Okay.
And
This is the
similarly,
meatworks.
yeah, the meatworks period. So post 1848 up to 1853, I think is their last.
And where's the 1810? That's one. That's
The
there.
1810 is actually behind you.
Okay.
And what we're trying to do here is we've got the line of post holes just running about half a metre off that section wall there.
Okay.
And it stops at the brick line. You're standing on the Palais footing there, and we're expecting that line of post holes will continue through this area here. But we did find features in this area here that suggest the post holes do continue. But what we also have, if you see in that section wall there, we've got a light grey loose deposit at the top with all the bricks sitting on top of it.
Yep.
And then a very mixed mid-brown deposit down to where the shadow of my fingers is.
Okay, yep.
See that?
Yep.
Well, all of that above there is 2008 disturbance
Wow.
from the demolition.
My God.
There's actually plastic bag in the area where Sophie's just
Oh well, it was a ruin.
corrugated straws and that.
If you saw the pictures of it, we had a student team that were doing a film.
But our point is, you see, this is where they needed to demolish to
Okay.
get rid of the Palais, and that's where they have demolished to. Another
Okay, so they really
400
dug it
metres
out.
deeper. So they've actually dug out a lot of what was here.
Well, thank you very much.
So that's our point to council about this, and the process hasn't been adhered to. Yeah. So you can see this grey deposit, dark grey, mid grey down to bleached white there. That's remnant topsoil here. So you can see how far it used to come up.
Yep.
But the material on top of it is all 2008 demolition. So they've just been digging around here, left patches of the topsoil through here.
So was it on the